Right, so I thought I might do a video about my thoughts about buying a quadcopter. And as you can see, this is the one I actually bought. I bought an SK450 from Hobby King, and this is my thoughts about where I came from, some of the things I did right, some of the things I did wrong, and basically whether you should buy one or not. So I came at this from looking at the GGI Phantoms and thinking, wow, they're fantastic, want one. Then going off and looking at the prices and thinking, really can't afford one. So I pottered about and thought about doing something smaller. And I started off with using one of these. It's a Hubsan Q4. It's great and it's tiny. It cost me, I think, 25, 30 quid. I think you can get them down to about £20. It's good. It flies indoors. You don't want to fly it outside. It's not wind happy. So I potted around with that for a bit and thought, okay, let's go a bit bigger. I then actually went off and ordered an X4, which is the next size up. I ordered the one with the 2 megapixel camera, and I ordered it from Hong Kong, and 2 months later it hadn't turned up. The company involved were very good about it and actually cancelled my order and refunded my money. But this was May, June, July, so really quite nice weather. So I then moved on and actually had a look at ordering this from Hobby King. Now, I came at it and thought, ooh, nice package there. You get the quadcopter, you get the remote control, and it was originally listed at about £110. I think they've actually adjusted it now slightly because of exchange rates. It's listed at £115. So you think, yeah, that's fantastic, that gets me in. But then you actually have to come along and do a couple of other things. You actually have to come along and order some batteries. Now, I ordered 2 Turnigy 2200 milliamp hour batteries. I think we're estimating somewhere between about 10 and 12 minutes flight time off of these things. So I thought, buying a couple, one flying, one ready to swap over. Then of course you need a charger. So I ordered the Turnigy AccuCell 6 and that came as well. So you're adding about, I don't know, £5 to £6, £5 to £7 on the batteries, another 15, 20 quid for the charger. So you're adding another 25, £30 for the batteries and the charger. So fantastic. Put all that in, goes off, takes you through to PayPal. PayPal gives me some values, and then it takes me back to Hobby King, who then adds shipping on, and it's 50 quid, give or take. And at which case you think, I'm in now, it's not too bad, I'll go. The next thing which actually happens is send it off. Hobby King sent me some emails saying it'll be coming quickly, and it did come quickly. I think it came in under a week. I was really quite impressed with that. No, actually, it could have been a week. But about 4 days in, SCS, which are the international shippers, sent me a lovely little email saying it's here. Got to pay your taxes now. Now, I thought there was going to be taxes, but the taxes turned out to be, I think it was €63, turning to about £50 worth of taxes on there. There's tax, there's VAT, there's duty, and then SCS charge you admin fees. Most companies do. People aren't happy with it. It's not a con. It's basically how it is. So we're up to about £220, £230. So it's not as cheap as you think it is. Then there's other little bits and pieces. So the Turnigy charger is actually very nice. Does lots of things. There's lots of videos on YouTube about how to set it all up. But it comes with your XT60 connector for one end. It actually comes with a nice little socket down there to plug a power adapter into, which they don't send you. And it's a 12 volt and it's a high milliamp power adapter. It does come with an end with alligator clips on the other end. Now you can use these alligator clips and wires like I've got here, and you can plug it into a PC power supply, the 12 volt Molex connectors. There's things about how to do it on YouTube. It's actually quite interesting. I didn't blow anything up and it worked. But in the scheme of things, you're going to want another power supply, and you're probably going to add another £10–12 on for the power supply. Great. So the money's creeping up, the money's creeping up. What else did I want to tell you? So there's other bits and pieces that I thought. Hobby King don't lie to you, but I made some assumptions. I'm not sure you can actually see because it's slightly dark in here, but all of the SECs, the speed controllers, all the cables just run in and they all clump together inside, and then they are wired into one XT60 connector. I thought there was going to be a power distribution board in there, and it seems a bit strange that there isn't. I would imagine taking the cost of the frame up by £1 or £2 or dollars. If you buy this frame, I think it's something like 12 quid. One with the power distribution board seems to be about 15 quid. It's something very minor, and I wonder why they didn't do it. I think it may just be to keep the costs down. There's other bits and pieces. Because they didn't have a power distribution board, there's no voltage sensor built in. So I've been along and I've actually made one. You get the connectors, I've soldered them back to back, I've added a JST lead on, and covered it in heat shrink tape, and that actually works really well. I'm really quite impressed with that. I managed to build that. So that will do a voltage sensor. They didn't actually even include the beeper, which I think comes with the KK2 board. That's not in the box that I can see. It wasn't any use as it was set up because there wasn't a voltage sensor, but I've now had to buy a beeper, which is coming from eBay. I'll wire it into another one of these leads, and hopefully that'll tell me when I've got a low voltage. Where else do we go from here? There's other bits and pieces that would be useful to get. It's obviously got green legs at the front and it's got black legs at the back. Once it gets to a distance, you cannot see those. Maybe having one of these direction balls that you see on some of the other quads may be rather useful. Might actually think about running that at the moment when I get that. So turns up and you need to buy a few extra bits and pieces. One of the other things that you need to buy is props. It comes with two sets of props. It comes with a set of 10-inch props and a set of 8-inch props. If you break one prop, you can't fly it. You haven't got enough spares to fly without them. So buy some more props. Probably buy the 8-inch props. People seem to be saying buy the 8-inch props as a new flyer. They will give you less power. You can do yourself less damage. So what else have we got? So it comes set up. It does come with a general little manual. I've managed to cut through mine with the props on the quadcopter. Quite funny, it attacked my housemate while he was holding this. But there's some basic information in there. Do read it. It does tell you how to set the transmitter up. Comes with a transmitter. Seems to be okay. I'm sure professional flyers would tell me how absolutely rubbish it is, but when you think that that could add another 50, 100, 200 pounds to your quadcopter, that's obviously quite important to bear into consideration. The KK2 board seems to be very nice. You can tinker about it with it. You can do some adjustments. Auto leveling is, I believe it was set incredibly high when I first got it. I think it was set at something like 150. I think I've turned it down now to 30. It may even be lower than that. When I first got it, it wasn't turned on. You turn the auto leveling on by flicking that little switch there, on and off. Auto leveling will get the quadcopter to reset itself to a level state if you don't touch any of the sticks. It's quite important for a beginning flyer, but when it was set at 150, it was saying to me, I am not level, I am tilted to the right, must tilt to the left as hard as possible. It then tilted to the left, said I'm not level, tilt to the right. It tilted backwards and forwards. It oscillated incredibly quickly. On my first flight, it came down to the ground doing that, and it broke the first of my props. It broke one of the 10-inch props on the day I got it. So that wasn't particularly good. I went out, we flew it a tiny bit on the second day, and as we were out and about, I don't think I'd got auto leveling on at that stage. I think I was rather scared of it. It came down hard. Now, it comes down hard. All we've got is these spiky little legs for it to land on. And it broke one of the arms. As you can see, that's my patch job on there. It's super glued. It's got some rigid plastic welded over the top, some of which is coming off, and I'll tell you why I'm not too bothered about that in a bit. Yeah, so that's coming off. So it then came back to base, and I re-glued the leg and patched it all up. Mucked about with auto leveling, got auto leveling working to quite a nice degree. Thought it was quite stable. Running again in the back garden, not enough space to actually fly it in the back garden, and clipped into something and broke the second of the props, broke one of the 8-inch props. So now I'm out of luck with props. Got props ordered off of eBay, and I'll talk to you about my thoughts about props in a minute. And so I'm out of props again, and it's not working particularly well. So eBay, ordered props off of eBay, haven't turned up. Very slow response from one of the people I've ordered from, and I've ordered cheap props, and I think that might be the way to go. People talk about ordering the more expensive props, but as a beginner, I think I'm more likely to bash into something or land badly and break my props than bank it around, roll it around the sky, doing twists and turns, and the prop shatters spontaneously in midair because it's not very well manufactured. So that's a thought. I could be completely wrong on here. So I've been waiting for my props to turn up. So I looked around and found an actually local hobby shop which was selling propellers, but he didn't have any 8-inch propellers. He had 9-inch propellers, and he had these things, Gruppners, I think they are. I'm sure somebody will tell me how to pronounce that properly. They're 9-inch props. They are a better quality prop than the ones I've been using. They are nice and rigid. They're great. They are sharp as anything. As I screwed them onto the quadcopter the first time, managed to cut my finger. So yeah, nice sharp props on there. Took that out yesterday and flew the quad about, and had quite a nice time. Managed to get it off the ground, managed to fly it around a bit. Flying it very square, sort of forward, backward, side to side, no real rotation. So beginning to get a little bit of the hang of it. The problem I've got at the moment is I don't keep it up in the air long enough to actually learn anything. I do know some of the basics. Do not turn the power off in midair. This thing weighs a bit. If you come down unpowered, you're going to break something. It's not light unpowered. So I flew it around, and basically it got away from me. Not miles, it was moderately high. It probably would be second story high, and it was still well and truly in sight. I was having difficulty finding the orientation, so I thought, right, okay, drop it back down to the ground. So brought it down. I realised that it was coming down fast, so put the revs up, and it still came down hard. Went over, arm had come off, broken this arm again, and of course broken one of my new props. These props cost me £6 each, so £24 for a set of props, which now, until I get another one, I've got a third set of props because none of them will mix and match, so I can't fly that. So great, not really having much joy with that. So I've got it home. I've been pottering about with the thing and re-glued the legs. I've actually gone off and ordered some different legs. Again, let me see if it might be able to see better on the green than on the black. That's the leg. That landing thing is actually separate piece. It actually bolts on there and there. I find it's actually quite thin across here. I don't know whether you can actually see. Yeah, it's actually quite thin across there. Some of the other 450 legs seem to be differently designed. The landing feet are actually integrated. It's actually quite thick. It's thick up to about here, drops down. So I've ordered a set of those legs. I've ordered, I think there's 6, 2 red, 2 white, 2 black. So of course I'm now going to have to change those out. So I stuck that back, thought, what am I going to do? My friend, my housemate, has actually got a DJI Phantom knockoff copter, which he's having problems with himself, but he's got an 8-inch prop available, which I thought, right, I'll have that. I'll put it on mine. It's the right rotation. The pitch and everything seems to be about the same. We'll take it out and run it. So I set it all up, put it back out in the garden, got it started up, and this motor here starts and then stops, and then starts and stops. The other 3 motors will happily try and lift it off the ground, obviously tilting it over, but this one won't. So taken this motor off, unmounted it from here, took the mounting ring off, and ran it, and carefully holding it, and you can actually feel it's making not very nice noises. It's binding up somehow. Now I've got 2 thoughts on this. This could actually be damage that I've done when I've crashed it. Most likely it could have been that it's actually been damaged from factory, that it wasn't behaving itself right when I first got it, which could have been why it's been as unstable as it has been. Don't know. It's most likely me. Anyway, so that's now broken. These things mount onto the arm, and then, well, actually you mount the motor onto that, and then you mount it onto the arm. The screws which went through into here had been super glued on. Possibly a good idea. I would imagine with vibration, you probably quite standard to mount super glue them on. 2 of them came out. 2 of them, no force on earth would get them to come out, so I actually had to cut them off, and I've managed to score that ever so slightly as well, so that's not great. Luckily my new arms coming probably don't need those. So the upshot is I've had to order some new motors. I've ordered 2. These are multi-star 2213s 935s. Hobby King have got them, but they've only got them in their international warehouse, and I don't really want to wait X number of days and pay X number of pounds worth of shipping. They don't seem to have them in the UK warehouse. Don't think I'd get charged VAT on it, because I think the order would be too low. So I've actually been on to eBay and ordered some different manufacturers. Let's say the spec numbers are the same, 2213s, 935s. When you actually look at the packaging, it's quite strange because they look identical. So I'm guessing they're the same motors and they've just been rebranded. So more fun, more cost. So what do I actually think? Is it a nice quadcopter? It actually does fly. It flies really, really well if you've got the skill to fly it. It doesn't do any hand holding. The DJI Phantoms, with all their NASA technology, They will auto level like mad. They will fly point to point. If you get it up high in the air and you think, oh, I can't land the thing, flip a switch and it will come back and it will land. This doesn't. If you are not flying it well, it isn't flying well. It will crash. It will give you a lot of power to basically crash. And if you get hard landings, you're going to break stuff. If you get hard landings on the edge or you bump into anything, you're going to take propellers off. So do I think you should buy one? As a beginner, probably not. Especially if you're cost conscious like me. You'd probably be much better off going for the next one of those up, the X4. I also got offered from a local hobby shop one of the big round, I call it almost like a ring copter. It's like 4 polystyrene rings glued together. He flew that in the shop. It was stable, it hovered around, it would be okay in light winds. It would have been a damn sight cheaper than this. I'm going to keep sticking with this. I've got a set of, got 2 new motors to come. I've got a set of new arms to come. I can basically detach the arms and replace them and go from there. And hopefully what I need to do is get a good 5-10 minutes time up in the air, maybe even have the battery warning come on and say down, and go home and feel that I've actually learnt something. At the moment I'm getting it up in the air, flying it about for 5-10 minutes, well, more or less sort of 15 minutes out with 5 minutes flight time. It comes down and something breaks. When I've got some new propellers, I should hopefully be a bit better off. Other little bits and pieces, while I suddenly think about it, the battery mounts underneath. I was kind of hoping the battery was going to slide in there, but there's not actually enough room. So the battery actually sits quite low down to the ground. Little bits and pieces I've done. I went out and bought 4 of these. These are Splats water bomb things. They are spongy. They do not weigh anything. I originally had them sat, I'm not going to be able to do this with the camera in my hand. I originally had them sat on there and tape running through. They take out 10% of a bad landing. They don't seem to weigh anything. Seem to be quite a nice little idea. So I had a prat around with those. So basically that's my thoughts. I'm going to have to work out how to upload this to YouTube and what to edit. But leave some comments. There's lots of resources about running these things. The KK2 board actually looks very good. There seems to be loads of information about it. There's loads of information on some of the forums. Anyway, thanks for watching. So maybe some of you will run out and buy one of these things. Maybe some of you won't. But some of you, it won't be the best thing to buy. Goodbye.